The reckoning. And by the way, the reckoning is the word of the day. It is a settling of accounts. That's the definition. A settling of accounts, a calculation that you make, a reckoning. I don't know if this account will be settled. There's part of me that believes when he gets out, and he's probably going to get out sooner than the 50 months plus time served. I feel like he's a superstar in jail right now. Like they are treating him like he is Luigi or something. And when he gets out, I wonder how many of us are going to act like nothing ever happened.
Ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
Watching this documentary, wondering a couple of things. First, I was very impressed with the empire that Sean Combs was able to build and the intentionality that he went after it with. I think that is to be commended, and I want to be super fair. You know, he put a lot of good music. I was just talking to somebody today into the world. A lot of good music, even though he apparently was a horrible rapper, couldn't play an instrument, but he had a sense of this going with that, his party promotions, you know, the ability to be able to see style and vibe is a talent and a gift. And, you know, I think of Jodeci and Mary J. Blige and Father MC, and, you know, it's like all of the total, and like it was so much good music that came through this man's spirit, and Biggie, Craig Mack. But his ego and his narcissism and his jealousy and his moral bankruptcy, which was always kind of there, because what happened at the basketball event at City College didn't take accountability, wasn't taking accountability for that. And then all throughout his life was able to get away with doing things. And as the story is being told, and again, you know, we could talk about 50 Cent Curtis Jackson being an ultimate troll, but this documentary is put together very well. I watched one on Hulu by Mara Shai, I can't pronounce her name, and I did a book with this woman. I actually published her book, and I'm having a hard time pronouncing her name. But you know, the ABC correspondent who was interviewing a lot of the people. She did a great job. That was a decent documentary, and it gives you a lot of insight. But this one, we are seeing in Puffy's own voice, you know, because he was documenting himself in them days leading up to his arrest. It was crazy to watch. His sons are there. So you get to see, like, people will give deference to somebody who is paying the bills, but there's something also diabolical about how Puffy was moving, that the people who were working with him didn't always get paid. He wasn't paying people. And somebody said it was like he liked to kind of starve people out so that they will always be like kind of begging him for money, and he would always be able to have control over them. So he wouldn't give you enough so that you could actually survive and thrive. You would have enough to have to keep coming back, even if you did the job. I said, that sounds like Trump, you know, because he's not paying the people that are working on the damn White House. He went bankrupt 6 times, which says, I'm not paying you, even if I have the money. There's something really evil about somebody that wants to keep people in a state of distress so that you can feel like you are king, or you are above them, or that they are dependent on you and you got control over them. It just shows how small and tiny and misshapen your soul is, that you need to have people dependent on you. I was like, that's wild. That's wild. I think the guy Curry, who was one of his ghostwriters, was crying at the end, like he hates this man. And Kurt Burrows, oh my God, that story. But I really landed on in episode 4, his chief of staff, the person that was like his right hand. And she was in all of the videos towards the end with Puffy and Cassie. Like, she was there to make sure that everybody You know, she said it was logistics, but I think she was doing a lot more. Her name was Capricorn Clark. Capricorn Clark. And she ended up testifying against Diddy. And actually, they interviewed 2 jurors afterwards. And her testimony, they didn't even believe it. Like, they said she was too emotional. But I believe what she was saying. And I also believe that she was complicit. And she even said as much. So I'm going to play the first clip, Smith. This is from Sean Combs, The Reckoning. And by the way, the reckoning is the word of the day. It is a settling of accounts. That's the definition. A settling of accounts, a calculation that you make, a reckoning. I don't know if this account will be settled. There's part of me that believes when he gets out, and he's probably going to get out sooner than the 50 months plus time served. I feel like he's a superstar in jail right now. Like they are treating him like he is Luigi or something. And when he gets out, I wonder how many of us are going to act like nothing ever happened. That was the thing as I was watching this. I was like, oh, we're probably going to see him go right back. He's going to do something really amazing and maybe put out some music and all will be forgiven. Do we not have the fortitude to say, enough already? But let's see. Okay, play the first clip from Capricorn Clark.
He was so mad for not telling him that Cassie was fucking Cuddy. I was fired and I went from being in charge of the company to you'll never be a president of any company. The kidnapping is, for me, that's like the most detrimental thing. I work so hard to be able to take care of myself. And I work so hard for Puff. His life would have been over then. He would have gone to jail for kidnapping in Los Angeles. But I protected you because I had more love for the culture than to embarrass him and take it all away from him like that.
Ooh, that's what got me. Okay, so here's what happened. Kid Cudi, you remember during the trial, Kid Cudi's car got blown up and stuff happened, and there was a gun, apparently. So as the story's being played out, Kid Cudi and Cassie were friends. I'm putting up air quotes. I don't know what kind of friends. That ain't none of my business. But she was hanging out with Kid Cudi. Puffy found out. Livid. He went and got a gun, according to the testimony, and was like, I'm going to kill that N-word. I'm going to kill him. So he's going to Kid Cudi's house, and fortunately Kid Cudi wasn't there. Cassie wasn't there. Capricorn Clark knew that Kid Cudi and Cassie were friends because she actually, they went hiking. She connected them in some kind of way. Even though she was like, "Why? Don't put me in the middle of this." But then she got in the middle of it. And when Puffy found out, he fired her. And, like she said, I worked hard to be president. I was president of a company, and he was making sure that she would never work anyplace else at that level. And she said, and so he kidnapped her at gunpoint, right? This is her testimony, and he told Cassie, I will hurt her if you do not come back. So if she had called the police, maybe none of this would have happened. I don't know. Maybe we would have found out earlier, which some of us already knew. But you think about, she did not call the cops. She did not, and then the man fires you anyway, and she said she couldn't do that to him for the culture. And when she said that, I was like, is this the culture? Is this the culture? What's the culture? What culture? Ma'am, he hemmed you up at gunpoint, basically definitely kidnapped you, and held you for ransom for Cassie's body, and you didn't hold him accountable for the culture? 866-801-8255. My gas was flabbered. I said the culture. Is this what we think the culture is? This was very sad. All right, play the second clip, Miss.
But you and Cassie put me back in it after I was out. The trauma that this case has caused me has been more traumatizing than the first go round with it. Because now I have to tell you what he did before I could pretend it was fine. And I think I did a good job of it. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see good stories about the past. I didn't call him the devil until Cassie finally came out and said something.
So she knew. And she said, you look at my Instagram and it's nothing but good. And you see in this documentary, he's calling people to tell them to say nice things about him. You know, I did all these things for you, say nice things for me. And one of the ladies who was in the last group he was in with Dawn, she had called him like months before because she needed money because she's going through some custody battle or whatever. And he was like, nah, I don't have it. And I'm not giving you any money. Then he calls her when this stuff happens and was like, I need you to go on social media and say nice things about me. And you see the campaign, which I talked about yesterday by episode 4, of how people were outside. Remember, free Diddy shirts and all that was orchestrated. Then they had the bloggers, like I'm sure like Milagro, whatever, who was doing that horrible stuff with Meg Thee Stallion and found liable in a court of law. They had the bloggers all in alignment to say, you know, Cassie, she knew what she was doing and all of that, and nobody coerced her. It was so orchestrated, and I was like, wow. And then we see in the first episode, the very first episode, where he talks about, do we have the people that know how to do this dirty media, you know, even if they're out of the country. And then you know that this is thought out. Like, he knows what he's doing. This is not, and then how to perform in the court. And it worked. It worked. And all I was thinking about while I was watching this is Trump. All I was thinking about is people like this who master the media and who know how to master us. They know those buttons to push and how to get, you know, the narrative out, are very dangerous. And they can go all the way to the White House. And this is really the game. And I struggle with it because I know this. I teach it. And then here we are in it. And I just reject it so roundly. And I think, is it possible for us to have a society where we're not pulled like this, where we can have enough discipline? Is it enough discipline in us to resist it? And finally, I asked the question, who among you will be okay when he gets out? Like, no harm, no foul, back to business. That's personal. Whatever he did in them freak offs ain't got nothing to do with me or us. But is it the culture? And do other people see that as our culture? And do we have a responsibility to say something about it? Because Capricorn Clark didn't say anything until she got fired. She didn't say anything. Do we have a responsibility to say something?
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow.